All right, hand over the phone.
Hang on, why?
Because I want to verify that you have not been playing mobile games.
I swear on my honour, I have not played mobile games this week. I'm clean, I'm in recovery, it's all good. Except Pokemon Go. Don't know if that counts. I played that with you.
Well, there goes your honour.
Look here, you. I only played Pokemon Go when we were out on a lovely date the other afternoon in the sunshine, walking around the park.
Only you don't play that at work?
Only partly on a date with you.
The Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem.
G'day and welcome to episode 64 of the Gaming Lovers Podcast. I'm Jem.
I'm innocent until proven guilty. As far as mobile gaming goes, I'm Brendo.
Well, you can prove it, you know. Your phone will tell us what you've been using it. Where's the settings usage with the battery life?
Thank you. We have a trust-based relationship.
Oh, really?
No, I hide nothing from you. Look, it's Pokemon Go, a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm Brendo, the former mobile game addict. If you tuned in last episode, I had a little splurge of mobile gaming addiction, and now that's over and done with, and I haven't touched any of them in a week, so I'm cured. It's never going to be a problem again. Yeah. What's that? Relapse? What?
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about our favourite animal companions in video games.
We had some discussions as far as some heated discussions they devolved into when we were talking about this in the car the other day, and we thought, no, let's not argue privately. Let's do it out in the open in front of everybody else. Who is the best animal companion in a video game?
It is so subjective. You will note there are a lot of dogs in this list, and barely any cats.
No, look.
Because cats, let's just face it, they're not going to be helpful in a game. They're going to sit there licking their paws,
if it was
watching
top
you
10
die.
Cat antagonists, I'm sure we could put that together quite easily.
Very true.
Let's not jump the gun just too quickly, though, because we have a little segment called Gaming Goals to talk about. And
very true.
We always sing the intro, so why don't I take this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah! Time for gaming goals. Time to put them into games. Time to set them into fire. Set them on flames. Gaming goals.
Okay. That's very nice.
We've both... Oh, I've ruined my voice now.
I can't do the rest of the episode. Sorry, Brendo's blown out his vocal cords.
We've been enjoying the Netflix anime Agretzko.
Oh, yeah.
It's been very enjoyable
my word.
Has made me want to sing rage songs at every little inconvenience in my life recently.
For anyone that maybe has those bad days at work or just in general has a pretty crappy job, I think you will love that anime. You will find a soul sister in Agretzko, so worth checking out if you haven't already seen it.
It's pretty good.
It is really good. Let's get into gaming goals this week. It's been an interesting week. A week of surprises for us. A week of hunting as well for a game that we were kind of worried that we were going to miss out on, because every time we went into a shop to get it, it was gone from shelves, gone from stock, because it was kind of very limited, I guess.
Incredibly low productions and stock, yes.
On the DS, Persona Q2, which we saw when we were in Japan, but obviously that was not the translated version. So, I mean, our Japanese is okay, but it's not that good. And we were waiting patiently for it to come out here in Australia, and finally it's out. And then when we start actually looking in earnest for it in person, it's gone. And we think we checked how many stores in the city? Several, EB Games, and not many places even stocked it. So it was starting to get to the point of almost like a nervous panic of, I need to find this game, I need to buy it before it's gone, before it is unavailable anywhere in Australia.
Yeah, I do have a bad habit of buying games because they're at a good price, and you never know if you're going to see it again, so I might as well snatch it up now. Nintendo games very rarely go on sale.
Yes.
For whatever reason, their console and hardware, they don't like it to be at reduced prices.
No.
So when I start to see that, Persona Q2, probably one of the last 3DS releases there will be.
Mm-hmm.
And there's very low physical stock. So if you want to pick it up, and you know the price isn't going to go down, you might as well snatch it up now. And like you said, this store and this store have stock. We go to those, and suddenly the stock seems to have changed. And now it's this store and this store. We go there, and they don't have the stock anymore. Mm-hmm. So when I saw it, I grabbed it, I purchased it, and we finally had it in our hands. Or did we?
We had the case.
I bought an empty case of Persona Q2 for the Nintendo 3DS and had to go back to the store the next day after a energetic phone call to let them know they had made an error and sold me an empty case.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably going to be next up on the chopping block for me to run through after Chrono Trigger, which I have played some of this week.
Yep.
You may have wondered why we're telling this story in Gaming Goals, but there it is. It's segued in nicely. Chrono Trigger's been quite enjoyable. The retro JRPG, I guess you could call it now. It's many years old.
Yeah.
It's been pretty great. I have been thoroughly enjoying it, and now that we have so many different time zones to make our way through, the world maps opening up, which is always exciting in those sort of old school JRPGs. Traditionally, in like old Final Fantasy games, you would be on foot on a continent. That's as far as you can go. Maybe you can't traverse this terrain on foot, and then you get a little vehicle, you can go across that, and then you can go over the sea to another continent, and then finally you get an airplane, and you can take off, and the whole world is yours. Well, I've got like 6 worlds to explore because the whole layout of the world looks different as time goes on through the timeline. So that's pretty cool.
Getting Persona Q2 is like motivating me to get through my massive backlog because I need to go back and finish like Persona Q the first one.
Yes, you do not have a good track record as far as progressing through that game. Let's put
I
it
got
that way.
further last time, but I got distracted again. So that is on my hit list, and especially knowing that the female protagonist from 3 is in Persona Q2, I'm like, all right, motivation, it's there. She's there. I can play as Minako. Let's do this. So I'm chomping at the bit. But I've made promises to other games, so I need to kind of do that first.
Promises to other games. All right, just give me 1 second of your time. And what exactly in a handheld format is slowing you down?
With my Vita games, I'm playing Code Realize.
And since this is Gaming Goals time, how much have you played of that this week?
None.
Right, so we're trying to blame the backlog. A bad gamer always blames their backlog.
I'm not blaming my backlog. I'm just saying that I feel like I need to finish that before I can then start replaying Q.
And how much Disney Tsum Tsum on your mobile have you played? How much Pokemon Go?
I play that idly when I've got something else on.
Oh, so you're the real mobile addict here.
You can't. Well, we've established that well and truly. But I'm not the one buying or downloading other games to help fund another game, mister. But
that was a dark time in my life 7 days ago. Like to move on. I'm a new person.
When it comes to a lot of those like visual novels, I have to concentrate on them. I can't like have something else on and try and read. It just doesn't work. Like that requires full attention. So if I am not...
Then give it your full attention.
But I'm not always in the right headspace for that. You know, or energy levels. Like there's, you know, it's winter in Australia and there are colds buzzing around and I haven't been in the best health place. So that doesn't help with my concentration and stuff. And yes, I realize there's plenty of excuses that I am making.
Yeah, no, just not reasons, just excuses. That's all right. Well, I've got no excuses for not playing a single second of Red Dead Redemption 2 this week. Sadly, that's been put on hold, but that was because of a specific challenge that was thrown down. Last week, what started off as being you're only allowed to play Xbox Game Pass games. A few weeks ago, it's venturing onto months almost. I did subscribe for 13 months of Xbox Game Pass and had not used it. So my dear wife here challenged me to play only Xbox Game Pass games. And then that sort of mutated into, okay, you can play other games if you want, but you have to beat at least one game before we come back.
Well, I was going to say you had to do half a game, and you're the one that ups the ante last week. So
Well,
did
what
you
can I
beat a
say?
game?
I have a gambling mindset. We've made that clear 7 days ago. It was a dark time in my life. Let's move on. I'm a new person. Yes, I did, actually. I played a game. The beauty of the Xbox Game Pass is that if there's a game I'm not 100% monetarily want to invest in, I don't have to.
Yeah.
If it's in that library, I can give it a shot. And if I don't like it, it gets the boot. I haven't wasted any money. I like that aspect. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an unexpected privilege of having the Game Pass library.
Yep.
I don't like the fact that I don't own the games on it, but I can pick and choose what I want to try. And there was a game that came out quite a few years ago at this point that I am still yet to try before this past week. And now I have finally played Super Hot, a game that you get no idea what it is based off its title.
No.
Super Hot.
So what is Super Hot?
The main concept about Super Hot is it looks like a blocky first-person shooter, and to a degree it is, but time only progresses when you move. Mm-hmm. If you walk forward or sideways or backwards, time continues to go normally while you're in action, but if you stop moving, time slows down to a crawl. If you turn on the spot, time speeds up a little bit, but not too much. And as you're facing 3 enemies with guns and they're shooting at you, you can then coordinate your movements to dodge bullets, pick up a vase, chuck it at their face, grab the gun that they've just dropped because they got hit in the face with a vase. Yes, fun. And then shoot another guy with it and then back away from another bullet that's coming at you. And it actually feels more like a puzzle game than an actual shooter. And if I had to sum up all of my thoughts on this into one recommendation, it would be that Super Hot is the most innovative shooter I've played in years.
Do you want to explain that?
Why are you laughing? No, what are you talking about? Everyone should try Super Hot. It's the most innovative shooter I've played in years. Everyone should play Super Hot. I say super, you say hot. Super!
What?
No? You're not as into this?
Well, I haven't played it, so I haven't been brainwashed.
The fun thing is some people on forums, if they haven't played it, say, oh my goodness, well, everyone who plays... Why does everyone sound like an advertisement when they play Super Hot? Well, it's kind of the fun. I'm in the cool kids group now, so there you go. Mm-hmm. If you want to give it a shot, I highly recommend you tell all of your friends to play Super Hot. It's the most innovative shooter I've played in years. I had a good time with it. Mm-hmm. It was quite short. It comes in at about 2 hours for the main quote-unquote story mode. Mm-hmm. You unlock an endless mode and a challenge mode after that, so there's more to dig into if I want to. Mm-hmm. It's nice bite-sized portions are good to just come to and do 1 or 2 shots and then back off if I don't have much time to game, but I still want to get a little bit of something done. What I really liked about it is I am such a sucker for games that have like an old school computer. Like you're playing on an old school computer and you access the menus like you would running MS-DOS, for example.
Yeah.
And working your way through those menus, and there's a chat room and it has the antics of a moderator and a couple other people, and idiots pop in and try to ask questions about this game that no one's supposed to talk about. And they get flicked out of the forum, and I sat and watched this forum unfold in front of me for like 15 minutes. I just sat and watched and just enjoyed the story that was being told in a little subsection of this game. So that's pretty great. I love stuff like that. So Super Hot gets a big thumbs up from Brendo. It is the most innovative shooter I've played in years, and everyone should play it, and tell your friends to play it too.
Yeah.
Super Hot, the most innovative shooter played in years.
You think you'll understand the joke once you play it too?
What? No. There's no joke. It's not, I'm putting my reputation on this. It's the most innovative shooter I've played in years.
Oh, good grief.
Super hot, super hot, super hot, super hot, super hot, super hot.
This week I was supposed to start The Witcher 3.
Yes.
Why? I did not.
Why were you going to start The Witcher 3?
Because I wanted to do something new and a big game, and it's been on my backlog, and that was what we decided last week. So I was like, woo, Witcher 3. And then we ended up playing a different game entirely, co-op.
Unexpected.
Yes.
It sort of just came out of nowhere when Brendo bought a game for no reason.
Brendo comes home, I bought a game. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I bought a game. It's Persona Q2, and I bought another game.
It was just one of those weeks. Divinity Original Sin, I believe the first one in the series.
Correct.
And it allows you, it's very like RPG style game. You create your character. So of course the first hour was spent doing that. But you have two characters that you play, the Source Hunters. And Brendo could like drop in and out and take control of the second like main character, I guess, or companion. Would it be a main character?
It is there are two main characters in this game. You can control either of them. Mm-hmm. You can set them to have automated responses if you want to just have a preset personality and they will just answer for you, or you can control the dialogues for both and have two conflicting personalities. You can role play them however you want. And because there's two of us, I personally bought this game because Jem wanted something she could sink her teeth into. It's been a while since she's tried a new Western RPG, which is why we suggested maybe The Witcher 3. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Geralt, you've been given the boot for the time being.
Been bumped back again.
But I just figured that you would play this game and you would enjoy it and tell me stories about it. But we've actually pretty much played it exclusively cooperatively. Yeah. The Adventures of Brendo and Jem.
Yep. That's been us. And I think the established lore we gave our two characters, I'm playing as a female mage, part healer, part like ice queen. And you are basically the shield.
Yeah, I'm playing more of a tank. I'm taking the heat so Jem can do every ability that she's ever unlocked in the world.
I basically control the battlefield around you. Oh, teleportation's fun. You can pick up enemies and just dump them somewhere like on top of the other enemies. That's pretty fun. Very helpful too when a really strong enemy gets a bit too close to my character. So it's turn-based, like strategic gameplay combat. But I think what's been most fun is like when you have dialogue and they're talking to the characters, they're talking to both of you as source hunters. Yeah. And sometimes you'll disagree on things because if my character we've made a bit more straight-laced, she's by the book, a bit more, I guess, self-righteous as well as like we do things for the right reasons. We don't, take bribes and that kind of thing. Your character's a bit more loose, but
well, look, Bren,
a bit more trusting or romantic.
He has a heart for adventure. He's a little bit naive. We may have joined a cult by accident. Not by accident.
A pyramid scheme.
Yeah, well.
The way they were describing it.
And that is what's so fun about this game is that normally you have one primary protagonist who makes all the decisions. Everyone else has to deal with it. Sure, they might not like what happens, but what I say goes because I'm the main character. Yeah. And we're not used to having two people giving their opinions on things.
And fighting about it.
And if you come to a disagreement about whether you're going to accept a quest or not, whether you're going to join this pyramid scheme or not, we actually had to duke it out in rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
Of which somehow I am completely undefeated in 5 goes.
This sucks because you keep making bad decisions and you know that they're bad decisions.
You say they're bad decisions.
They are bad decisions. You're like, oh, this guy's like clearly a crook, but let's go ahead and do this anyway.
There's an opportunity for adventure,
no,
dear.
It's opportunity for them to take our gold.
So poor Jem has been tagging along to all these quests she didn't actually want to sign up for because she lost rock, paper, scissors. Yes. And that's how all decisions in life should be determined. If there is a hung jury during a court case, rock, paper, scissors, whether you're guilty or innocent. That's the easy way. It saves so much time. Police investigations come to a head. Well, rock, paper, scissors will just make the decision.
Sorry, innocent people. You lost rock, paper, scissors.
Now, we have actually had a lot more fun in this game than even I expected once we started rolling. Yeah. We've had some mistakes. There have been some reloaded saves, something I'm usually quite adverse to. But my character seems to be a bit clumsy. as far as triggering traps.
Yeah, not
And
the smartest.
whether it be I've actually stood on something and tried to disarm it and blow myself up, or I see poison gas and think, screw it, I'm not going to try and time this right. I'm just going to barge through it and I'll heal myself when I get to the other end. Oh, there's a explosive mine in the middle of this thing I've just stepped on and
Kaboom.
blown myself up. And then I flicked a switch that I thought opened a door and blew myself up. So it's happened many times. So that's Bren's tragic history with exploding himself. But my mage friend here, Jem, has had some errors as well. More of the comedic style, though. In particular, when digging up graves, shall we say.
Oh, one of the I don't feel like this is spoilers because it's pretty early in the game. You're investigating a murder, and a dog, I can communicate with animals. That's another one of my awesome powers. A dog tells me that the body that's buried is not his owner because it smells funny. And so we're like, oh, okay, this is, a really important lead. Let's dig it up and find what's actually in there. And I thought I had dug up the right grave. No.
Jem dug up a grave and out popped Dave. And we're like,
Sorry,
aha,
Dave.
it's the wrong person. And Dave attacked us because he was disturbed out of his death.
His eternal slumber.
And then we killed Dave.
Again.
And put him to rest and then realised it was the wrong grave. So
Yeah,
we just
whoops.
desecrated poor Dave's grave.
And,
The grave of
and
Dave.
the poor, whoever was, tending the gardens in the in the graveyard came to our aid when they
heroically tried to assist.
and then they died pretty quickly.
But Dave doesn't need his grave anymore, so we'll just put him in there. Sound good? And then later on a certain beach, you had another issue with some graves as well. We had literally just finished talking to an orc who was very distressed, the only survivor of a big battle.
Mm-hmm.
He'd buried his brother, and we, despite the appeal of the exquisite armour that he was apparently buried in, we promised him we would not dig up any graves. And literally 5 seconds later, Jem saw a mound of dirt that she goes, oh, I wonder what's buried here. And dug into the grave and upset the orc, who then attacked us.
It didn't say grave, it just said pile of dirt.
Pile of dirt with a headstone in front of it.
It wasn't a headstone, it was
Just
a totem. It was a totem pole.
Pile of dirt.
And yeah, it was one of those oh no moments because immediately as soon as I tapped, it was like a boo with the gem. All hell broke loose. Fight has begun.
I think our most quoted phrase playing this game is, ah, crap, how long ago did we save?
You just keep making really stupid mistakes.
My personal favourite of yours, if I may, this can either be confession time or I can tell a story about my wife. Either way, which would you
tell
prefer?
it.
Jem picked a weapon of quite excellent power as far as being able to shoot little magic balls out of a little wandy staff thing.
Scepter.
That's pretty cool. Okay, it's a scepter. And anytime we found a mine, she could just shoot it with her little magic stick and it would explode and everyone was happy. But when we found one later on, Jem didn't realise that she'd actually switched her little magic scepter for an actual full staff, of which she actually knocks people on the head with it and
Much
attacked
shorter range.
Yes, attacked a mine, which basically involved her character walking up to it and prodding it with her magic stick. And kaboom!
Sent flying back. It didn't kill me though.
We've been learning. It's been a learning experience. One of my other favourites was when you teleported one of our companions across a ledge to keep them safe, and they did not appreciate being dropped on their head out of combat.
Well, she's constantly going on about how she hates any sort of magic, so she had it coming.
We're having a lot of fun with Divinity Original Sin. It's going to be one of those games that's a long-term project. We'd like to try and play it in big chunks, so we have to wait for our schedule to line up for those chunks.
Yeah.
But, gosh, I think we've already put 10 hours into it just
We've
about.
had a good week for it, actually. We've had some more... I think your work hours have been a bit more flexible for that this past week.
Yeah.
So there will undoubtedly be weeks where we're ships passing in the night, and that means we can focus on our solo projects. But yeah, it's fun. I enjoy when we get to do co-op. I miss I loved it when we were doing the Borderlands, and we kind of dropped number 2 kind of mid-game.
Oh, that sounds smelly. drop number 2 mid-game. That's not what she meant.
That's definitely not what I meant, but that's funny.
Toilet humour.
Oh, no.
It has been a great time playing Divinity Original Sin. We do need to play more co-op games. We usually do like to divide and conquer, though, with our preferences.
Yes.
So coming together and playing this game has been great fun. If you've played Divinity Original Sin, tell us your embarrassing tales, because we've shared a lot of silly things we've done.
And if you've got any tips, recommendations for equipment or tactics and things like that, I mean, it's been around a while, this game. So we imagine that there's plenty of people out there that are far more experienced.
I think I'll pick the leech power-up where I can absorb blood out of the ground and heal myself with it. That sounds delicious. That's it for Gaming Goals, I believe. No Red Dead. I played Super Hot, I beat Super Hot, and we played Divinity Original Sin, and there we go.
Yep, that's pretty much been it.
It's been a good week for Gaming Goals.
You definitely.
I'm a busy gamer.
That you are. We'll be right back with our favourite animal companions after this.
Share the love. Follow us on Twitter at Brendo and Jem. That's BRENDOJEM.
So in honour of your new ability to talk to animals in Divinity Original Sin, what better time than now to reflect on our favourite animals over the years of gaming, the loyal companions that have helped us through our journeys. Doesn't matter if it's an RPG, a first-person shooter, a stealth scenario game. So many times we've had animals assisting us through video games, and we always fear they're going to die. Is that just me? I'm always so worried anytime there's something that you should bond with that is going to be snatched out of your hands.
I think you care almost more if like an animal companion dies than if one of your human companion dies. There's something really wrong about seeing your like dog friend getting shot at that makes you more aggressive. You're like, hey. So we're going to cover some of the best, not all, but some of our favourites, and key components in them being companions, and not that they're just animals in the world or things that you kind of ride. They have to be companions that are helpful, some that are like interactive, that are actually part of the party, and also not supernatural animals, if that makes sense. So,
well, when you say supernatural, we mean like animals that can talk English, are intelligent enough to understand and assist, like Morgana from Persona 5.
Yeah, well,
or
Morgana isn't...
Red 13 from Final Fantasy 7.
I mean, Morgana takes the shape of a cat, but technically... Oh, this feels like game spoilers to
Don't
say.
spoil anything. It was a qualifying statement. We just don't want anything that can speak, basically.
Well, it's kind of creepy anyway. Although I have found it really funny in Divinity, a lot of the rats have southern accents. I find that really interesting and strange.
Southern rats. How strange.
Maybe is it like Fievel Goes West? They all like related.
Yeehaw.
Somewhere.
No, all right, let's
out
not
there.
get that singing out of your system. I'm going to start off this list, our top 10 that we've put together. We put our heads together with a companion to a companion in Final Fantasy VI. I've been playing Chrono Trigger. Graphically, it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy VI, and that's not a bad thing because I enjoyed Final Fantasy VI. I once saw very offensive graffiti driving trains that said Final Fantasy VI is overrated. I almost reported it as offensive graffiti, which I have the power to do as a train driver.
Well, it offended you, so it is offensive graffiti, right?
Your band of rapscallions, your band of misfits that end up together in any Final Fantasy games, always a big varied bunch. But in Final Fantasy VI, you get a ninja called Shadow. Perfect ninja name. And he has a loyal dog called Interceptor.
Who's more popular than Shadow is?
It's not really an easy name to call for an animal, Interceptor. 4 syllables might be a bit too much to call in the middle of battle. But the best part is, if Shadow is in your party and everything's going smoothly and he gets hit, there's a chance that Interceptor
Will intercept?
will intercept
Ah!
and counterattack after his master's been wounded. Now, that's a good boy. The fact that it also has a defense, it completely ignores defense on the counterattack, and it's magical-based damage, is even better, because that means it doesn't matter how armored your enemy is, it's taken a hit from the good boy Interceptor. Now, sadly, you can actually come to a disagreement with Shadow and not have him in your party anymore. Doing so will remove Interceptor from the party too, obviously. He's a faithful dog, sticks with his master, and we like that sort of loyalty, which is why we recommend Interceptor make it into our top 10 video game companion animals.
In at number 9, one of my more recent favourites from playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. He flew a little close to the sun, but boy is he helpful in scouting out those camps and scrounging up food and attacking or distracting enemies for you. Icarus, your eagle, so awesome, and a mechanic that I absolutely love. Technically one that was used in Assassin's Creed Origins when you're in Egypt. But Icarus, I just love, because if you know your Greek mythologies and stuff, then you know the joke.
It's the perfect name.
It really is. I'm like, that's just so clever. And Icarus is just really fun. If you're standing still in the game, he'll come land and you kind of get these cute petting animations, and he'll even pose in photos with you with the photo mode. So some of the best ones that you see scattered around Greece are photos people have taken nuzzling Icarus.
Well, of course, the ancient Greeks did invent selfies. So surely that's a known fact, right?
Oh, Paris Hilton would be totally contesting that.
Oh, I said Greece, not Paris. Now, one of my favourite things about good old Icarus that I've witnessed you when you were playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey is that he can peck and harass anyone you choose to tell him to. If I had an eagle, I would use him for that ability too.
It'd be very handy if you're trying to sneak somewhere, use them to distract others, to distract guards. And my favourite way of Icarus helping me was that Icarus, when it would leveled up enough, would kill any snakes that were on the road ahead of me.
Well, we know you do not like snakes.
No, and especially in that game because they come out of nowhere and they do that sudden hiss, and it always made me jump out of my skin while I'm playing the game. So having Icarus spot them and dive and kill them instantly was pretty awesome. Good job, Icarus.
Icarus is a boy, I assume.
No, it sounds like a boy's name.
I don't know. I haven't looked.
It's a little harder to tell with birds. I don't know if you know the story, but we had, was it a cockatoo? And we named it Bert. We believed it to be a boy until it laid an egg. Had to change the name, and my poor dad felt betrayed because it was supposed to be the only other male in our house of girls, and then it ended up being a girl. Good times.
Goodness me. What an exciting tale of confusion. It's not the only animal I think we've had, because I had a pet rabbit growing up called Jack. And Jack started burrowing like crazy after a few years, and apparently it's only the girl rabbits do that. And we thought Jack was a boy rabbit, and so Jack, we just figured, Jack will do. Jacqueline's a name.
Well,
that's fine.
Jack from Mass Effect.
There you go.
It's become more unisex these days.
Another creature that you bond with, maybe not so much a traditional animal. We did say we're keeping it out of the supernatural realm. I hate the fact that you chose that terminology, because I love Trico from The Last Guardian. He is not a natural beast, but he is making into my list of best companions because the entire game of The Last Guardian is based around you and Trico adventuring together. The entire game.
He's kind of like a giant bird.
He's like a griffin dog, bird, creature thing.
He's a hybrid of bird and dog, so there you go.
But that's fine, because he is incredible and lovely. And as soon as that was announced, years and years and years ago, and you think, where's this game? And it took so long for it to come out. And then when we finally actually got they hit the production cycle into fast forward, and then it was like, here's an E3, and it's coming out next year, and everyone's like, oh, what? This game that was on hold for like 10 years? And then there it was. And as soon as you saw Trico in the flesh, everyone was afraid that Trico would die. And after spending the entire game bonding with its animal, there was fear right out of the gates.
That Trico's going to die.
Now, this isn't the sort of game that clicks with everyone. My good buddy the Falcon played The Last Guardian, found it boring as anything. Not a winner for him. But Trico, tell you what, there's something cute about seeing he's got little shaved horns, basically, on his head, so he can poke his head into places. And if you're in there trying to move a barrel around for a puzzle and Trico pops his head in to have a look at what's happening in here.
What you doing?
It's pretty darn great. Very cute. And he saves your bacon a few more times than one would think in that sort of game.
Yeah.
What do you mean his little gimpy wings? He can't even fly, which is why he's just basically a dog with feathers.
Yeah.
And a beak. Okay, maybe he's more than a dog. But he's such a good boy.
Yes, he is. Speaking of good boys, a very popular one, especially amongst the shooter games, is Riley from Call of Duty Ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
A German Shepherd dog trained to be just as deadly and ruthless as any other Marine. Riley can stealthily attack enemies for you, can sniff things out, can ride in tanks and look adorable.
Official mascot
He's
of
so
the
cute.
Ghosts.
So cute.
You had a German Shepherd growing up.
I did.
Which
I
is why
love
you are
German Shepherds.
I've noticed. I was glancing over this list. More than one German Shepherd on this list.
They're a common dog, though, especially in games. They are easy to train and very good for combat situations. So it's not surprising that they're, featured heavily in video games.
Okay. Just the way you mentioned it, it's like they're an easy dog to train to put in video games is what I thought you were going at. I'm like,
No.
I'm so confused. Are they easier to program? Who's a good boy equals you.
But I always felt very safe walking my dog Carla. She was a great German Shepherd and very protective, and I could, take her for very long walks all around town by myself, as a young teenage girl, and, I always felt completely safe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did yours wear a little camo vest with a camera on it that you can track dog's eye view? Well, it's not even dog's eye view, it's on their back, but dog's head view, dog's
no,
spine
I sadly
view.
didn't have that kind of technology.
And in case you're wondering, you can control the dog because it wears a vibrating collar that can tells you which way you want it to move. It's very obedient, Riley is. So they've at least explained how you can control a dog.
So at least it's vibrating and not a shock collar.
Now, while you lean more heavily on the German Shepherds in this list, I am a fan of Shiba Inus. And having played through the Yakuza game, you meet one at the Sunshine Orphanage, where Kazuma is running a orphanage after he has escaped the crime families of Tokyo, and he wants a new life, and he finds a dog. And if you play the English text version, the Japanese dog's name is Rex.
Sick 'em, Rex.
Now, Rex sounds like a German Shepherd's name.
It does.
Not a Shiba Inu.
No.
Wrong name for that. And I go, surely this can't be the name of the dog. And I can hear Japanese voices calling to the dog saying, Mame, Mame.
Maybe it sounds too close to like someone saying mummy in English.
I suppose.
Mummy, mummy.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Why would you change the name of a dog for a translation purpose? I will only know him as Mame. I don't want him to be called Rex. That's ridiculous. But he's a very good boy. And the only reason I put him on this list was to complain about his name, because he's not a featured role. You can teach him some tricks, and of course, every time I went back to the Sunshine Orphanage, in both the Yakuza 3 and 4,
I
made sure, where's Mame? Where is my little Shina Ibubu?
Well, maybe whoever did the cultural linguistics review thought it sounded too much like mummy, but maybe they could have chosen a better name than Rex for a Shiba Inu, because there are plenty of other cuter names than that, but still, yeah.
just to pad out this moment, because like I said, I only really brought him into this list to complain about his name. But on the Yakuza wiki, I'll just give you some stats about him. His name, Japanese, Mame.
Uh-huh.
He is alive. He is a red and white dog with brown eyes. Notable features: is a dog. He's affiliated with the Sunshine Orphanage. And officially, if I go down to personality, the entire entry is Mame is a very good boy. So there you go. It's
so
official.
does he help you in any of the missions or anything, or is he just hanging around the orphanage?
When Saejima rocks up on the beach, having escaped a prison and swam across the ocean, basically, to escape.
Yes.
He washes up on a beach, and Haruka and Mame find him in Yakuza 4. So if they had not been walking, the plot may have been very different, because he might have get eaten by a Japanese crocker shark thing. Or a Godzilla. Or something native to that area.
Oh dear. We'll be back with the top 5 animal companions in video games after this.
You're listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. Want to join the conversation? Visit thegaminglovers.com. Record your comment or question by clicking on the button on the right-hand side, and you could be featured in the next podcast.
And look at this. We've made it this far into an episode without Dragon Age or Mass Effect being referenced. I'm so impressed. This is got to be a new record.
Well, sorry to burst your bubble, hun.
Oh.
The next animal companion on our list of best animal companions is one of my personal favourites, the Mabari Hound, that you can have as part of your team as an actual party member in Dragon Age Origins. Now, the Mabaris are a repeat kind of thing throughout all the Dragon Age games, but it's only in Origins that your Mabari is an actual party member, not just someone you can summon mid-battle as kind of like an extra power bonus.
Now, when I played through Dragon Age Origins, I thought, okay, I've got this fun, sort of cheeky, mischievous witch. I've got this goofball in a suit of armour who's cracking jokes every 2 seconds. I have this delightful ranger, bard, basically, that is the most melodious voice I've ever heard. Why on earth would I want to replace one of these great characters with a dog and ruin any potential great dialogue?
Because there's dialogue between the dog and other characters, and it's pretty funny.
And I didn't think there would be. That's what's hilarious about this.
They have arguments with the dog, and it's all sorts of hilarious, especially between Morrigan and the dog. And this Mabari Hound, you can name whatever you want. I tend to name my pets in games after snacks that I'm eating. So things like pretzels or Pringles, Cheezels. Pocky.
They all start with P.
Yeah, Cheezels didn't. But to me, they make cute kind of pet names. So when you meet the Mabari Hound in Origins, you can completely miss this. It's one of those companions that you could possibly never recruit if you don't go and talk to everybody. You're at camp, you've just been kind of recruited into the Grey Wardens, you're about to be sent out to go fetch some ingredients for the ritual that you need to do to officially join. And before you go out, there is like a kennel area that has a bunch of the warhounds there that they're preparing for this big war, this big final battle against the Darkspawn. And the kennel, like the main guy that's looking after the dogs, is looking after this sick one. He's been poisoned.
Oh, no.
Yes. And so you ask for help to find this rare flower that will help cure the sickness that this Mabari Hound has. So if you actually talk to the guy, then you'll get the mission, you'll meet the dog, you can recruit said dog later because you save its life, and it will come find you later on in the game, like, because it remembers you, it imprints on you. And I think that's so cool. It just kind of found you. You're like, oh, I saved your life, and now he's come to repay the favour. And you can choose to ignore it, let it die. You can.
What? No.
If you're playing savagely like you did,
No.
you can choose to kill it then and there, going, put it out of its misery.
Look,
You probably did that.
I did play quite ruthlessly when I played. Grum the Angry Dwarf.
Was very mean.
He was very mean. I don't know if he was mean enough to execute a sick dog, but it's well within the realm of possibility. He had a rough beginning of that game. My favourite thing about the Dragon Age game Origins is that when you go back to camp after every mission or so, there can be new dialogue with each character, and that includes the dog, who gets up to such mischief as...
The dog likes to gather people's belongings, or it will gather bits of food and things for you. Sometimes it leaves presents for other camp members too. I believe it leaves like a dead bird or something in Morrigan's clothes, which is actually more cat-like behaviour the more I think about it. Collecting dead birds. But still, it kind of has a battle of wills with Sten, the canary. So that's kind of amusing to see them kind of growl at each other back and forth. Yeah, it is really... There's something just so charming seeing a character and a dog have personality to the point where it's having conversations not just with you but with your other party members. It really doesn't just feel like, oh, here's a dog because it's cute. Let's be a little bit honest, the Mabari hounds aren't the most attractive of dogs. But he's a very helpful companion, very helpful in battles, helpful when you go to new areas to have the Mabari hound there because he'll go and explore and find things that you can't find any other way. And just fun to have him interacting with the team. So that's one of my favourites.
Very cool. Now, you did mention cats as well. I don't know if I'll lose fans for saying this, but I'm more of a cat person than a dog person. I have nothing against dogs, but maybe it's just that I respect cunning and attitude more than dumb loyalty. And
dumb loyalty?
Most of the dogs,
fighting words.
Most of the dogs I've seen have been a bit dumb at times.
Oh, they're sweet. They're not dumb. You're dumb.
The endearing dumb. Just like, no, I don't.
This is going to get personal, wasn't it? Were you going to say Charlie?
Yeah.
Leave that poor girl alone.
That was a dumb dog, admittedly.
But she was cute. All right. This is getting personal. Let's get back to this cat.
I wanted cats to represent this list. I once had a cat, one of my favourite pets ever. And we bonded so well because we were both cunning and conniving and lazy and would fall asleep in the sun together, and it was fantastic. I've always liked cats. You're not so much a fan of cats, A, because they're very scent kills you.
Their presence, their existence is killing me.
You have severe allergies to cats.
Yes.
And you have always, always loved dogs with undying affection. And so no cat could ever be...
I love animals, but there's just certain ones that, are trying to kill me. So I avoid them.
Now, when I was looking through animal companions, I had a bit of trouble thinking of any cats that were actually well-liked to start with.
But they're not really companions in a lot of video games. If anything, they're more... villainous.
Yeah, well, dogs, I suppose, majority of our list has been dogs. Most of them do follow you with undying loyalty, which, of course...
That's what you want in a companion.
Exactly, whereas a cat would probably sit at home in front of the fire saying, good luck on your adventure, just leave me food, and I'll see you when you get back.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one cat that I really quite liked, and again, I'm sorry, it's a little bit more supernatural-ish than most of these were supposed to be, but I quite liked Dusty from Gravity Rush, a game, one of the very first games I ever played on my PS Vita, and started the love affair that I had with that handheld. Gravity Rush, you have the ability to change gravity into whatever direction you like. If you want to fly up in the sky, straight up, change the gravity to the sky. You will fall upwards, and it can get a bit confusing, but
like a Salvador Dali painting.
It is absolutely a rush to play, a gravity rush. Not a gravity daze, which is what's called in Japan. I don't think that's anywhere near as cool a name. Maybe it's because they have trouble with the R letter and they didn't want it to be gravity lush. I don't know. But Dusty, just on his very appearance, is a cool looking cat because he looks like he's made up of a galaxy, which, combined with the cel-shaded art style of this game, top-notch stuff. And good old Dusty, he's a loyal companion to the main character, whose name, coincidentally, is Cat. So that's how you get your powers, is because Dusty gives them to you. And overall, he is a companion. Sometimes you're in trouble, he helps you. Sometimes he's in trouble and you help him as the story progresses. Gravity Rush 2 starts off, Dusty's nowhere in sight. That's a shame. But as time goes on, who knows? Maybe he will surface.
Maybe.
Not going to give away anything too much. But Gravity Rush was one of my favourite early PS Vita games. It was a game that could only be played at that point on the PS Vita, which adds to my affection level. And Dusty, the cat. There's really not that many cats I can think of, any others off the top of my head, that I would even consider companions.
Well, Morgana is one of those ones that has like an asterisk next to it. Morgana, throughout Persona 5, insists that he is not a cat. And so I respect his wishes.
And as such, you get no recognition from the Gaming Lovers podcast.
He takes the form of that, but see, that's one of those things like once you finish the game, it makes sense. It's one of those things that could be hotly debated. On the surface, he may look like a cat. But deep down, there is so much more to him than meets the eye.
And he finds human women attractive.
Yeah, let's not go there.
You're making it weird. Let's move on.
You made it weird.
Well, I just said the words. You thought about it.
Okay, let's go back to German Shepherds, okay? Because they're safe. Another one of my favourites in the Fallout series is Dogmeat, the beautiful, cute German Shepherd companion who can die so easily in 3, but I believe is pretty much invincible in 4, which is awesome. They can get hurt, but they can't die.
Dogmeat does have his origins in the earlier Fallout games.
Yes.
But it seems to be a different Dogmeat each time,
Yes.
not the same Dogmeat.
I believe you can technically change the name in number 4.
Of course.
But most people just name it Dogmeat because it seems to be the tradition of, the Fallout series.
Absolutely.
And plus, who doesn't love dressing up their German Shepherd with cute little neckerchiefs and eyewear and have him strutting around and also can carry, a megaton of all your stuff that you've collected in the wastelands.
Megaton, didn't you? That's too soon. Too soon.
Fallout joke.
As a side note, have you ever blown up Megaton? Because it was
No.
depressing, but quite strange to do. Eradicating an entire city from a map.
Didn't do it.
Well, you missed out. Imagine the loot.
I'm so worried about you. Let's get back to Dogmeat, shall we?
It is great that he does act as a pack mule.
Yes.
And can carry everything from rocket launchers to all the extra medical supplies you need to bring about.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to waste your armor spot with this power armor, so guess who's carrying it? Dogmeat.
Mm-hmm.
He has got some buff little limbs.
He could probably carry more than those Brahmin that are around. He's a very handy companion. He will sense when there are enemies nearby before you may even see them on the map, and will just attack anyone that comes charging at you. Very helpful when there are feral ghouls that are behind you and you don't realise are coming after you. And he's just very sweet, as all these pets are. You get very attached to them. You don't quite have the same dialogue or anything like that as you do perhaps with other companions that you can take with you, but sometimes you just want to be that lone wanderer with a dog by your side.
Very Mad Max.
Yes.
Road warrior.
So he is one of the best companions, I would say, in the Fallout series.
I've always been too scared to use him in Fallout 3 because I'm afraid he will die.
Aww.
And so I recruit him and then send him away immediately.
Stay alive, Dogmeat. In number 4, I do say it was always hard in combat if he did get injured, because they get what I think is crippled, where they're kind of just lying down, unable to move, but they won't die and then you can revive them with a stim pack. And seeing Dogmeat whimpering on the side of the road, crippled after a Deathclaw attack, made me really sad, and I don't like seeing that, so I think I stopped using him in my party.
Now, I think that you may have been blinded by the manipulations of Dogmeat. You think cats are manipulative. If you play with subtitles on, you will see such incredible dialogue from him as attention-seeking whimper.
Well, if he's dying, he does need attention.
Look, that's no excuse to manipulate somebody into helping you. That's all I'm saying. Where's the integrity, dog meat?
Oh.
Dog meat. That's a great name.
You got some great names for your future pets, people. Take them from video games.
Now, we're down to the top 2.
Yes.
Although I am a big fan of what we have ended up putting number 1, there's somebody who is the undisputed King Canine in my video gaming heart.
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. You meet a little lost half-dog, half-wolf in the Afghan wilderness. Little gimpy puppy who has one bad eye that's pretty much gone. And he wants to attack you and play, and basically he's the size of your boot, so he's not going to do much. So we do what any mature, responsible soldier would do and strap a balloon to his back and rocket him into the stratosphere to be picked up and dropped off at Mother Base. And thus begins your bonding with D-Dog.
And some of the cutest cutscenes in the whole game. Oh my goodness. Those cutscenes, you just see him playing with the puppy and see the puppy get bigger until the point where the puppy is a big dog that has an eye patch, and you're like, yeah, you're a badass.
Every couple of missions, you return back to Mother Base, and the badass himself, Revolver Ocelot, is training D-Dog to go out on missions with you.
They call them the Diamond Dogs. Bow wow.
That was the name of the mercenary group that you run, and so his name is Diamond Dog DD. And what's very cute is that when DD thinks he's ready for the mission and he tries to climb up into the helicopter to go with you, and he's just not quite big enough, and he falls back, and then he dejectedly walks back to Ocelot to know that he's not quite ready to go. He wants to go, but he's not a big boy yet.
No.
And from when he is available as an option, he is most of the time the go-to for your preferred companion. Quiet is helpful because of her sniper abilities.
And she's so quiet.
Well, she's always humming that song. But DD can basically sniff out every opponent on the map that you're approaching a little facility. He'll start growling and grumbling because he can point out everybody at little icons. But the coolest thing is you can equip him with combat gear, combat vests, and most amusingly, the stun rod, which he holds in his jaws, and you tell him to go get him, he's going to go get him. He basically jumps on their back on an enemy and stuns them, and they are completely out of the fight. Fantastic work.
Very fun to watch.
Don't even have to do anything myself. DD can take care of it all.
Yep. Just make him do the whole mission. It is a very cute dog. But at number 1, and this is probably contentious, I think, actually, because it's more obscure. I would almost say some of the other ones that we had mentioned would be on other people's, like, top of their lists.
Well, guess what? This isn't the general populace's podcast. This is the gaming lovers podcast. You come to us for our opinions. We're going to give it.
Yep. Our personal favourite dog companion in video games, and one that if we ever do get a Shiba Inu dog, we will be naming it this. That's how much we love this dog, is Koromaru from Persona 3. The sweet dog that was inspired by Hachiko, which is the dog statue you can see at the Shibuya Scramble Crossing, right outside the station that people line up to take photos with, which we did when we were in Tokyo.
Hachiko would come to the station to meet his master after his master returned from work every day. And then when the master passed away, good old Hachiko basically did a Seymour from Futurama and kept coming back to wait for his master, who never returned. Hachiko, the loyal dog, got his own statue outside Shibuya Station, and Koromaru is such a loyal boy as well that he was basically modelled on Hachiko.
Yes. His master sadly passes away. He was a keeper of a local shrine in the area, and they discovered that he can basically evoke a persona as well. So a dog that can use a persona. It sounds very handy for a team of high school students that need all the help they can get in climbing this tower of doom, basically, to try to get to the top before time runs out. He's a very, very loyal dog, and he even has very cute conversations. Not that you can necessarily understand him directly, but one of the other characters in the game, Aegis, who is this AI kind of robot, basically, can understand dog language. And so she translates for you. And sometimes Koromaru dobs in other characters because he'll be like quietly watching in the corner, and then he'll comment that they did this even if they said they were doing something else, which is kind of cute and amusing. But one thing that I really love is seeing him bond with certain key characters in the game, like with Ken, who is an elementary kid. I think he's in like grade 5. And when he joins the team, those two kind of become inseparable, and they're a really great tandem. They actually work very well together in all the combat. So Koromaru was, when he joined my team, he basically stayed in my party in Persona 3 for the rest of the game because he had great skills, he had great combat as well. Like, I was just like, he is awesome. And when you paired him with Ken, I was like, yeah, I'm very happy with this. They're locked in.
And when you have games that are crossovers like the Persona Q games that we mentioned earlier on, part of my favourite thing is to see how the characters from the other games interact with other characters, and I love everybody's interactions with Koromaru.
Yes,
Undisputed.
especially Kanji from Persona 4, who is, you know, the gruff delinquent who secretly loves cute things. Immediately gets all like, oh my goodness, this is the cutest dog ever, but poor Koromaru is a little intimidated by how gruff Kanji is and doesn't want to be pet by him, and so poor Kanji's heartbroken.
Oh, unrequited love.
It's beautiful and funny all at once.
Now,
so
what's funny is that when they were deciding, when Persona 3 entered development very early on, they said, we want a dog in the party. It took them quite a while to decide on a breed. Obviously, smaller breeds like a Pomeranian or a Chihuahua just wouldn't be really valid enough for a combat party.
I don't know though. I hate Chihuahuas, the little ankle biters. My auntie had one, and
They thought the Dobermans would be too aggressive and imposing and scary, and they ended up modelling Koromaru's persona, Cerberus, after that. And so the decision came down to a Husky and a Shiba Inu. And what do you think they chose?
The Shiba Inu?
No, they chose a Dalmatian.
What?
Originally. It wasn't even an option, and they went with it.
Well, I love Dalmatians. I have no issue with Dalmatians, but wait, what?
But they ended up putting it to a popularity poll, and the Shiba won. So there you go. Originally, Koromaru could have been a Dalmatian.
How interesting. And then I would be begging for a Dalmatian, because you know how much I love them already, because that was one of the movies I was obsessed with as a kid, 101 Dalmatians.
One of the other favourite things about Koromaru is that if the TV's on in the dormitory in Persona 3, various people like various shows. And Koromaru, he's a fan of the show called The True Battles of Real Men.
Ooh.
And it exhibits acts of courage from real people. And Koromaru will beg the protagonist to take him to the theatre for a special showing of the final episode.
Aww.
He can have a movie date with the dog. That's how good a boy he is.
That's amazing. He's like the original service dog going to the movie with the protagonist. Oh, he's seriously
I think it's more the
so
protagonist going to the movie with the dog. The dog was the one who requested they go.
That's true. But that's not what it would look like to everybody else. I'm just saying. Koromaru is a great, loyal, beautiful dog, and he has story, he has character development, which is one of the reasons that we love him so much, and he is just so darn cute. So that is why for us, he is our number one animal companion in a video game.
We love the little albino boy that he is. He's so gorgeous and loyal and a fierce fighter and fun and cute and everything from all the rest of the list rolled into one, except for a weird griffin hybrid thing like Trico, but that's not here nor there. Do you have a favourite companion? Tell us. Let us know at Brendo and Jem on Twitter. Make sure you include a picture of you and your favourite animal companions, because we all Photoshop them into our photos, right? Is that just me? Oh, that's weird. Shouldn't have confessed that on air.
Let us know if there's any you think should have been on the list. You can let us know at thegaminglovers.com or find us on Facebook. Otherwise, we'll be back after a short break with some more gaming goals.
Share the love. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegaminglovers.
Another week over and another week begins. Because that's how time works. It's not that complex to get your head around.
Unless you start time traveling.
Do you have any intentions of playing anything else except for copious hours of Divinity Original Sin with your husband?
I suppose I need to have something else to play when you're at work.
Yeah, I suppose that would help. Can't play a co-op game primarily when your husband's out of the house for 50 hours a week.
I don't think you'd appreciate that too much. Finally start winning those rock, paper, scissors arguments.
That's cheating. Cheating.
Suddenly you've become such a docile, obedient helper.
Am I the real animal companion?
Oh, that reminds me. My chick, I didn't say before, one of the things I love about my mage is, weirdly, she can summon like this giant spider. And normally in these games, I hate them because they freak me out. They always scare me in Dragon Age because they make a hissing sound. Yeah. But this spider, which I don't think we've really named yet, we keep calling it different things every time we summon it. I think last time it was Webby. Is so helpful on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Always dies after the battle is done, but super, super helpful.
The way it descends from the roof and the way its 8 legs move as it walks towards enemies looks horrifying.
It is so realistic. It's one of the most realistic things in the whole game. It's creepy.
And we can only think that the enemies see it coming and they know their doom is at hand. So we'll look forward to more adventures. That's the real animal companion right there.
What's the name of the giant spider from Lord of the Rings?
Aragorn? No, that's
Not Eric.
I was thinking, no,
that's
hang on.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Harry Potter's giant spider.
Shelob? Is it Shelob or Shelob or something?
I don't know.
Pretty sure it's something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. It's been a little while since I've watched it. But maybe we can name her after that.
I was thinking of the Harry Potter one, and then you said Lord of the Rings, and my brain said Aragorn. I'm like, yes, that's it. No, wait, hang on.
That's so funny.
Aragog or something. Isn't that the one in Harry Potter?
Aragog is the giant spider
so
that Hagrid looks after.
All right, I was on the right track,
Yes.
I suppose. Oh, well, that's embarrassing.
Hang on, here's a different one. What's the name of the female like spider queen in Drizzt in that series?
Lolth.
Lolth. There we go. There's the name.
Anyway, I'm going to be playing more Chrono Trigger because not only am I greatly enjoying that game, but I am going to play Persona Q2 immediately after it. So I've got double the incentive to pump in as many hours as possible into my 3DS.
I wonder if I should like go back to Q.
You're welcome
Persona
to.
Q and see if I can beat you to Q2.
I don't think you could. Q's quite a long game. Although, you know, I'm always up for a challenge.
The race is on.
Speaking of challenges, I'm going to be heading back into the Xbox Game Pass. For the remainder of July, I'm going to be trying to beat a game a week. There are quite a few games on the catalogue that I'm interested in. With the current Tomb Raider trilogy all on there, I've only played the first one. I've not played Rise of the Tomb Raider. I've not played Shadow of the Tomb Raider. They're options, but I might have to tackle something a little smaller scale if I'm going to do one a week. But it's just nice to know that there are games I'm interested in on that catalogue. But as for what I'm targeting, there's a game that I didn't even really hear about until literally like 36 hours ago that is available on the Xbox Game Pass that I may be playing called The Outer Wilds. It is a game that involves a little bit of space, a little bit of exploration, a little bit of adventure, and a 22-minute time loop that you're trapped in. You can only explore for 22 minutes, then you go back to the start. And you go for another 22 minutes, try something different, back to the start. I'm very interested. It reviews very well. I know almost nothing about it, which sounds like the perfect storm. That is likely what I'm going to be targeting this week, The Outer Wilds.
Another game that's on my radar that I'm interested in, although I think I'm going to wait till I see some more like gameplay and reviews, hopefully nothing too spoilerish though, is Sea of Solitude. An indie game talking about the feeling, obviously, of solitude, of being very alone and dealing with the depression that can come with that. So it's interesting seeing people put those kind of struggles and turn them into these metaphorical kind of games. That kind of fascinates me, and it looks beautiful. The art style is both creepy and haunting, but like amazing to look at as well. So based on that that's all I know about it at this stage. Like, I'm intrigued, but I'm going to do a little bit more digging on it first before I commit to saying yes to the game.
Awesome. Well, that seems to have set us up nicely. I guess we will see you all next week. Well, not see you, because it's an audio podcast, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Until next time, sayonara.
Chasky.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. For more episodes or to watch some live stream gaming, visit thegaminglovers.com.
Come on, boy.
He's a good Brendo.
Oh.
He's a good Brendo.
Oh, scratch me behind that ear. Oh, that's actually phenomenal. I'll do whatever you want me to do if you keep doing this.
Edit the podcast. Edit the podcast.
No, I take it back.